Call the meeting for Monday, August 21st, 2023 to order. If you would, stand and face the flag. That's Billy Dallas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can make sure everybody's on. It seemed like last meeting I had a hard time hearing some, and I don't know if their mics were on or not.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval of regular meeting minutes from August 7th, 2023. If you guys have had a chance to look over those, unless someone has any questions on them, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I make a motion.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Just a little closer.
I'll make a motion.
All right. Motion by Billy.
Second.
Second Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Approval and ratification of bills. Those were sent out last Friday also for everyone to look over. Are there any questions about the bills at this point? If there are no,
Motion.
got a motion by Clayton to accept the ratification of the bills. Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, visitors first. We have Mr. Tommy and Miss Tina Hinckley.
Yeah, we're right up out of the chute, huh?
Yeah. We got a certificate here, and I want to tell you how much we appreciate the efforts you put forward in the city. And City of Leitchfield Beautification Award, this honor is bestowed on Tommy and Tina in recognition of their efforts to improve the overall appearance of the community through the enhancement of the property located at 121 West White Oak Street. So, Tina,
It looks good.
We're not done yet.
Looks good.
We really, just for me, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what you guys do for the community, and I just want to thank you all. I've been involved in some other stuff that you all did, and we really appreciate what you do for the community.
Very well.
Absolutely. Okay, next on the visitors' agenda is Mr. Bill Curd. I think he wants to discuss the repealing of the 3% restaurant tax and discuss a problem with waste throughout the city. Mr. Curd, you're welcome to go.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. I just wanted to see about what we need to do to repeal the 3% restaurant tax. If I understood originally when this was passed, it was a 2-year initiative. It's been several years. So I don't feel like we need a 3% interest or 3% tax on restaurants here in Leitchfield, especially in the state of the economy right now. Also, with that, I'd like to find out what we're doing to improve the economy in Leitchfield. We're having a lot, if you look at the statistics, we're having a lot of people who are coming following, since our jails now are housing not only state inmates but also federal inmates. And with the female jail getting ready to annex out there, it's going to increase movement. So people are following their incarcerated spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, baby daddies, or whatever. So we're having an influx, and we're losing industry in Leitchfield. You know, I moved here 22 years ago because I saw Leitchfield growing. It was important to me to see a city that was growing so I could raise my family. All my kids are grown now, but I see factory after factory is leaving. You know, it's great to have all these restaurant jobs and fast food jobs, but we need true industry in Leitchfield, you know. We've got to find some way to improve it, you know, and that'll offset the cost of what a 3% restaurant tax is. Families that are moving, you know, we're in the poverty level in Grayson County, Litchfield is one of the poverty-stricken cities in the state. I think we're number 3 in the state right now in the standings. So I just want to see what city council is doing to move forward and how we can repeal that 3% tax. And also would like to talk about the trash problem. Ever since we voted in alcohol, I have no problem with people drinking alcohol if that's what I want to do. But every week I pick up trash in my yard, beer bottles thrown out of cars. I've sat in my yard and watched people throw 12 packs of empty cans in my yard, and nothing's being done about it. You see them in Walmart parking lot. You see them all over the city, just laying on the ground. The other day I was driving up 259, I had to slow down because there was a 12-pack cardboard box in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
You know, you can't stop on 259. 259 needs to be widened. There's a lot of things that need to be done in Leitchfield. So that's all I have.
Okay. As far as the industry in the city, we have been working closely with Lincoln Trail and the people involved with the Blue Oval project in Glendale. I think eventually you will be able to see the results of that Blue Oval factory. And I think you'll see some of it in Grayson County.
I've already
It's a-
seen the results of Blue Oval. I fly over it every week.
Yeah.
They've damaged an Indian burial ground. They've damaged a Civil War site. Tremendous.
I've read that, but that's neither here nor there from our standpoint.
Right.
From our standpoint, we want to see the city grow. We want to see industry move in, and I think we've got a good shot at seeing some of that. As far as the 3% restaurant tax, and I'll turn the floor over to the council here in just a minute, but you know, that's going to be something that we'd have to all sit down and look at, consider. It provides significant funding in the city, and as you said, you know, we have the possibility maybe someday getting that funding elsewhere, but right now that's where we're at.
But wasn't that funding only earmarked to pay for the water park?
I don't think so. Now, we'd have to go back and look, but I've never heard that. So I had just come on the council when that came about.
They're
But
earmarked for tourism. That's what promotes our tourism in this county and brings them in. So that's all the 3% goes to is tourism. The city budget don't get any of the 3%. And that's the way they spend it, is on tourism to bring people to the county.
That has helped with.
I mean, weekends, we have 2017 playing softball or Little League,
What else do you have for kids to do other than play baseball and softball?
water parks.
How much does that water park cost a family to go?
You've got the splash pad.
You
It's
guys,
$8 for an adult, it's one of the cheapest water parks that you could ever attend. We have people coming from Hancock, Bullitt.
Elizabethtown, and they have their own.
Louisville, that actually messaged me on Facebook saying, we just wanna make sure you're open, we have to travel an hour to get there. Because there's not another park that's only pay $8 to get in the whole day. And we've been keeping that down, we've only raised it once since 2014. So we've been trying to keep that low to give families something the opportunity to do.
And Bill, it also helped with the splash pad out there by where you live, by the Fireman's Park. That's not a charge, that's free. So, I mean, the kids can play on that, the expansions and the playground equipment, and that, some of that comes from that, right? The pickleball courts that we're getting, there's lots of things that helps.
The disc golf
The
courses that
disc
we've
golf
got.
courses,
if we didn't have that tax, we would have to tax you and me
right.
to keep up what we're doing, to draw on the tourism. So that's if you look at taxes, that's the fairest tax
'Cause it's,
that you can give out, because you got hundreds of people coming off the WK that don't live here. You got people from Evans County, Butler County, all come and eat. And that way they can get them all instead of just driving the roads and coming in here and eating for nothing.
What's the average turn off for the parkway on the weekend?
Don't know.
How would I know? Is there somewhere,
The state should have some kind of statistic for that.
Yeah, do you think it done?
I just don't think that we have as much traffic coming off the Parkway to eat as it's made out to be. I go
Mayor?
up and down the Parkway all the time.
Lake traffic alone.
Walmart same way. You go out there and look at license plates. They're not all from Kentucky. They're not all from Grayson County.
Right. Now, we
We
did,
got one of the hugest Walmarts in the
But
world.
you gotta, but it's saying whether the license plates are Grayson County or not. If I go to Warren County by car, my license plate will have Warren County on it when I get it. If it's already got a plate on
Do you
the car.
think there's that many here that do that?
People travel all over to buy a car.
Bill, we did have a report whenever the
Tourism.
tourism thing, I can't remember what it was for, but it was a meeting, and they analyzed the cell phones, where the cell phones were from,
Right.
and how many people, based it on Walmart, they based it on other things too, but Walmart was the primary thing. They could tell from your cell phone where you're at, where you come from, and when you visit that. So license plate, no license plate, but cell phones was a big
Right, but like
indicator.
My cell phone is a Grayson County number, but when you ping it, it says that I'm in Grayson.
Okay, but I'm saying there's multiple ways that they gauge that, not just
Right.
one avenue.
Tammy, you would probably be able to offer some input on this through the, our tribal teams who come in, and we have 27 teams at a ballpark, and they're not all from Grayson County. They're traveling from, give us some examples of just one weekend.
They come from Indiana, Tennessee, all through the state of Kentucky, and, the average one brings in 500 to 750 people outside of Litchfield.
Outside of Leitchfield, yes.
They're eating here,
Oh,
they're using the restaurant.
And that's just one weekend.
yes.
That is one weekend, and you're booked almost every weekend.
Correct.
And there are reports, Bill, that we can run.
Just don't have.
Gina mentioned the one that pings cell phones. I think,
I'm sorry. I didn't
Okay.
mean to-
well, I think there was another report that also came out that what effect tourism, financial effect tourism had on our community. We can get you some information on that. So,
Now, the 500 to 700 people that are at the ballpark every weekend, how many are actually Grayson County ball players?
not very many. Yeah,
15 probably.
yeah,
If that-
2 at the most, I'd say, but.
Those are invitational tournaments where most of our teams
It's all travel.
relatively host it. I mean, we may have a team who host it, and then they invite others in, correct?
Right. But what other activities do you have for kids that don't play sports?
You can go to the East Main Market. East Main Market, that's another good example of what this 3% tax goes to. I mean,
I don't know what that is.
well, you should come and visit, because it's really a big deal, and it's been going on.
Friday and Saturday nights, there's just slews, gospel quartets, different ones come in, and
It's different genres of music. It goes on all throughout the day. There's crafts, there's free activities for kids. They put a big emphasis on actually getting some of our younger kids to come and perform throughout the day, so that's also giving them experience and exposure. We really do have a lot going on here. I wish that we had a better avenue of exposing more people to what we actually do have available.
You know, yearly in July, we have the fiddling affair on the square. They have free rides for kids and things there, and
I mean, what do they do? When they come to the fiddling festival, they walk around, they eat ice cream, and they sit. Kids
Really?
need something to do even during the school year.
What would you like to see?
What would I like to see?
Yeah.
I'd like to see a roller rink. I'd like to see somewhere where kids can go and do something constructive, where they can learn some kind of skill, you know? Not all kids are gonna go to high school and do woodworking, but if there was something on the weekend where kids could go and learn something along the way, you know, or a boys club, girls club type of deal, you raised all three of my kids. All three of my kids are out of school. And the whole time we've been here, they said, I wish there was something to do. I wish there was something to do.
Well, as an educator, I can tell you that all of our schools offer after-school programs. I'm not so sure about the high school, but the middle school, for example,
But a lot of kids don't want to be in the same place all the time.
well, Mr. Kurt, I'm sorry, we can't accommodate
That'd be pretty
100% of the population. And I love your idea of a roller rink, but is that something that, you know, the city needs to put in? Or is that something,
There's no place that you can equitably buy a piece of property, put one in. I looked at the cost.
property's outrageous right now, you're right.
Ridiculous.
I'll sell you some property.
There you go. And then like the insurance alone on like a roller rink, I can't imagine what that would be.
It's $800 a year for a general liability policy.
That sounds like a deal, and Tommy Higdon can hook you up with some land. So you all meet after the meeting, and let's get us a roller rink.
Mr. Carter, one thing we are looking at is doing a healthplex, and we're kind of at the beginning stages of that. And hopefully it'll be, if we can get it done, it'll be about a 50,000 square foot healthplex, like for volleyball, basketball, archery, walking, indoor facility, like I said, about 50,000 square feet. And we're in the preliminary stages of that. We've got some, somebody's going to donate the land that we can put it on, and I think we've got a pretty good shot at getting that done. It'll be about a $10 million project if we can get it done.
I just want to see if
Would you say that's about right, Mr. Higdon?
To see our city grow, because our kids are our future. If we're not pouring into our kids, we have nothing in the future. You know, I'm 58 years old, and I know what it was like when I was a kid. I had a man who mentored me because I went somewhere and I met him and I learned a lot of stuff. And I don't see the kids doing that. I see them walking up and down the street, aimless, lost, you know, or you see them at home playing video games all day long. You know?
Well, there's a substantial 4-H program there's a substantial 4-H program in the county. In fact, there's some children down at the,
What does a 4-H program cost a family on average per year?
I'm not sure about that. It's been a long time since my boys were involved, but
It's the financial burden on a lot of the families that really need the focus, that you can keep these kids out of trouble. We shouldn't be number 7 in the world in incarcerated people. So
Yeah.
if we could train our
Well,
children and get them.
we'd all, I think everybody in this room would agree that we would like to offer everything a child needs, but unfortunately, we can't do that. There are kids down at the fairgrounds south of town here now where they have the horse shows and thing, trap shooting this evening, that are involved in the 4-H program. I know for a fact that they're down there, adults working with them, teach them gun safety. You know, we can't force anybody into participating. You know, if a kid's walking up and down the street, I mean, you know, absolutely, we'd love to.
But what I'm trying to focus on is that the financial burden since we are considered one of the poorest cities in the state, we can't financially burden families to expect to do things, go by. Not every family can afford to go to the water park every weekend. Not every family can afford to drive their car even to Muda either, to go swimming in a state reservoir. So we need to find things that are in town that they can do other than sports, because not every kid is a sports fanatic.
Well, as Terry mentioned, you know, they have bouncy houses at the East Main Market. They have things for kids. They've had axe throwing. They've had different things. You know, we offer.
I've ever heard of any of that in 22 years being here.
Well,
Then come out Saturday night. I think the next one is Saturday night, right?
Yes.
Come out in the day. It's on the square. It's on East Main. Spend the day, spend the night. But going back to like the financial burden on families, I do know for a fact there are financial resources out there available for families that will help to offset the cost. If it's 4-H, all you have to do is reach out to that program manager. Anything else, I know that wasn't there some type of
Grant.
something for
For kids that couldn't afford to play baseball or
play baseball in our parks? Wasn't there something for the aquatic center as well? Okay, I mean, at some point, people have to reach out. No. But I understand completely where you're coming from. But I think that a lot of people don't realize that there are resources available. Sometimes we just have to reach out and say, look, I can't, or I know a family and they really can't do this, but their child wants to. And 95% of the time, the people will make it happen. Yeah, I understand completely where you're coming from. Exactly. Exactly. Right. Yes.
But I agree, and moving on to the trash problem that you see and stuff being thrown in your yard, I'm not sure what we can do about that. We'll come and get it if you call us. Yeah.
But I mean, I sit in the side yard on Friday evenings or Saturday evenings, and I watch them just throw. I mean, I've had people look straight at me and just,
So are they not your neighbors?
they're not my neighbors.
You get a license number on their,
Down 259,
you get a license number on their vehicle?
55 mile an hour.
He lives on the corner.
Oh, I know where he lives.
Oh, I have 46 of them.
We don't, we don't want trash thrown over the city, and, we go some pretty great lengths to try and keep that from happening, but, we can't do it all the time,
I agree. I
but.
It needs to be brought up that since we have allowed this happening, it is becoming a perpetual problem. And if we don't nip it in the bud before it becomes a major problem, I've got a buddy that drives a truck and he goes to Louisville and he goes to some places that on one side of the street it looks like the high-end Hilton Hotel, and on the next side of the street it looks like somebody took the trash dump and dumped it on the street.
Yeah.
We were in Louisville the other day and walked up to Dick's and it looked like somebody took their family trash and ripped the bag open and just threw it all over the street. I just want to make sure that we're being diligent to be ahead of the program, before it becomes a major problem.
Yeah. We're going to do our best to control the trash situation in the city once we're aware of it. I don't know how you police people's individual actions like that. I mean, you can't. It's if we could, it'd be I don't know if it'd be a better world or not, but it'd be a different world. So
I'm sure we all have had that happen to us. I know I've had it, we have it happen to us on Hilltop right there. And like you can't get the license number, it's hard to get out there and get a license number. But we pick it up, and not saying that that's right that it happens, but it happens to every one of us too.
but if you see anything in particular, if you do get a license number or someone's throwing trash out, discuss it with Chief Riley and he'll address it. Yeah, so he'll be glad, some of his officers will be glad to address it, I'm sure, so. Anything else, Bill?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Does anyone else in the audience have anything to say? Okay, we'll move on then. Next item is approval of the June 2023 financial statement. Sure.
I noticed in the last meeting, I'm short, hold on. In the last meeting that you all did not approve that because it was unaudited. If you want, I don't do the backup journal entries. I have to wait until August 31st because legally government, we have to wait until August 31st. So I haven't done any backup journal entries, or I would have given you an updated one. We won't actually get an audited one until December or January when he does the audit, finishes it. However, I can get you closer to the audited numbers somewhere around the middle of September, maybe closer to the end of September. So if you want to approve this one and then I give you an updated one, or if you want to hold off, whatever y'all wanted to do, but I just wanted to let you all know where my calendar was. I expect to have most of the backing up journal entries done to get you closer to the real numbers around the middle of September. So maybe your second meeting in September or a little bit later. So that's up to you all. I just wanted to say that.
Okay. What do you guys think? Do you want to wait for a updated version, or do you want to pass this one now?
I personally would like to wait till it's all in there and we know.
Because it won't all be in there until December,
Right.
but a
Close.
lot more of it. It'll be closer, you know, whenever I can do those journal entries. Because, you know, your occupational taxes, we don't actually receive those until July and August.
Right.
And so anything that was June 30th, I back up to June 30th. So it just gets you, it'll get you some closer numbers if you wanted to wait. It's fine either way. It doesn't matter to me.
So like the 1st of October wouldn't be a rush for you, and it would be.
No, because I expect to have everything to the auditor by hopefully the second week of September, so he can get started on our audit earlier, because I would like to get the audit done before December 31st is my goal this year. So I expect to September 1st start working like,
Well, I think
Yeah.
if you make it through that in September, then 1st of October would be reasonable to.
oh yeah. I feel like unless I run into some major problems with computer issues, which that's happened before, but I don't expect that.
Is everyone okay with that, with Gina's suggestion?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay. So we'll just plan on doing that first, maybe first meeting in October, Sabrina, that'd be all right.
Works for me.
Okay.
I'll get you all updated
Okay.
financials.
We'll keep you up there right now.
And your July ones are going to be the same way, you know, so I'll give you those too, but you can do what you want with those two. Okay, I'm staying here.
Next item is 2023 property tax discussion. I think Sabrina's got some things on that also.
Yes, so the 2023 property tax, so on the 2022 assessed value, the real property was $289,296,674. The personal property was $80,652,609. The 2023 assessed value for real property was $301,012,233. Personal property was $84,363,966. There was an increase in real property of $11,715,559 and personal property of $3,711,357. The 2022 real property rate was 16.7, produced revenue of $483,125. If you go with the 4% increase for 2023, it would be 17.7, which would projected revenue of $532,792, which is an increase of $49,666. The compensating real property rate, if you go with that, would be 17.1, which produces revenue of $514,731, which is an increase of $31,605. The 2022 personal property rate was 21.59, which produced revenue of $174,129. If you go with the 4% increase for personal property, it would be 22.76, producing revenue projected of $192,012, which is an increase of $17,883. The compensating personal property rate would be 21.99, projected revenue $185,516, which is an increase of $11,387. The 2022 and 2023 motor vehicle rate is 12%. The 2022 produced revenue of $41,489. The 2023 produced revenue of $50,635. That's projected. So with the compensating rate, the real property rate change in revenue would be $31,605. Personal property change of revenue would be $11,387, which means a total of $42,993. If you go with the 4% increase, the real property rate increase in revenue would be $49,666. The personal property rate increase in revenue would be $17,883, which is a total of $67,550. So I'll let you all decide.
Does anyone have any questions for Sabrina on what she just read?
I just want to give Sabrina a gold star for her 5-year projection. I like seeing those 5-year projections.
Thank you, Denny.
Okay. Does everyone have, I know Sabrina had gotten this to you guys earlier. Does anyone have a preference one way or the other?
Mayor, what
Personally.
would your recommendation be? What would you like to see?
I would recommend the compensating rate. I know that's some less, and, you know, through the years, it stays less, you know, we don't, but, you know, we had an increase with real and personal property. So that would be my recommendation, is do the compensating rate, but I'm open for whatever you guys think, and for discussion or
I do too.
I do too. I think that's about where
I
it
agree.
needs to be.
And I did do some math on it, and it looks like as far as Leitchfield, we're like out of the 406, I may be off a city or two, but it looks like we're 129 out of 406 as far as having the lowest tax rate. And then even with cities between 5 to 8,000, we're the 7th lowest out of 29 cities that qualify in that. So we've got one of the lower tax rates in the state, so I'm good with the compensating rate.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll then, if everybody's good with that, I'll
I'll make a motion.
take a motion. Gina makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have to take
Now,
roll
wait a
call on
minute,
that?
I didn't get to say what I make a motion for.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Jen.
And I actually had to read it in the form of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you say nay, Clayton?
I
just
said
wanna make-
nay, I wanted to keep the rate the same prior to last year.
Go ahead, Jen.
I was gonna make a motion that we go with the compensating rate.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I
Thank
assumed
you.
that.
I know we do, and a lot of times we assume that, but
Yeah.
if we finish our sentences, then we all know what we're voting on.
Yeah. Okay.
And I actually had to read it in the form of an ordinance.
Okay.
I've only had to read it. I have Sabrina.
All right.
So. Whereas City of Litchfield is a municipal corporation of the home rule class in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and whereas the City of Litchfield is required by the Kentucky Revised Statutes to annually by ordinance provide for the assessment of all property within the corporate limits of the city and levying an ad valorem tax thereon. And whereas the City of Litchfield is authorized by Chapter 136 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes to impose a bank franchise and local deposit tax, be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky, Section 1, that an ad valorem tax of 2023 of 12 cents of each $100 valuation hereby levied on all motor vehicles and 21.99 personal cents of each $100 for other personal property and 17.1 cents of each 100 worth of property is hereby levied on all lands, improvements held or owned by any person, firm, company, corporation, or association in his, hers, theirs, or its name, or fiduciary or agent, and subject to taxation under the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky located in the City of Leitchfield, Kentucky, including all property and franchises heretofore and thereafter assessed by the Department of Revenue, the State Board of Valuation and Assessment, and Railroad Commission, which assessments to the extent applicable shall be adopted by the city. Taxes realized from said levy shall be deposited into the general fund of the city and utilized for general municipal purposes as determined by the city council. B, that the taxes hereby levied in this section shall become due and payable 30 days after the tax bill has been mailed, and if any tax bill is not paid 30 days thereafter, the tax shall be declared delinquent and shall be subject to a penalty of 6% and shall bear interest at the rate of 6% per annum until paid. A discount of 2% shall be allowed on all taxes if paid prior to the 30 days from the date tax bills are mailed. The taxes imposed herein shall be payable at City Hall, 515 South Main Street, Litchfield, Kentucky, during regular business hours. C, that the collection of taxes, interest, and penalties shall be by duty of the city tax collector, who shall bill the taxes by mailing a statement to taxpayers. The city clerk treasurer is designated herein as the city tax collector. D, that for each calendar year, the assessment date for all property located within the corporate limits of Leitchfield, Kentucky shall be by January 1st, and the valuation of property subject to taxation shall be insofar as is applicable, the same assessed value is assessed by the Grayson County Property Valuation Administrator, who shall receive the fees provided by law for furnishing such assessments to the city. To the extent applicable, the assessments provided by the State Department of Revenue, the State Board of Evaluation and Assessment, and Railroad Commission shall be adopted by the city. Section 2, there is hereby imposed on all financial institutions as defined in KRS Chapter 136, located within the corporate limits of the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky for the 2022 tax year and all subsequent years, of franchise tax at the rate of 0.025% on all deposits as defined by the KRS 136, maintained by such financial institutions. The city of Leitchfield shall issue tax bills to financial institutions no later than December 1st of each year. Payment of the tax shall be due with a 2% discount by January 31st of each year, without a discount by January 31st of each year. All taxes imposed by this section which are not paid by January 31st shall be deemed delinquent and shall be subject to a penalty of 6% and shall bear interest at the rate of 6% per annum. The city of Leitchfield, Kentucky shall have a lien for taxes upon any and all property subject to tax imposed by this ordinance, which a lien shall be superior to all encumbrances prior or subsequent. All monies collected pursuant to this ordinance shall be paid into the general fund of the city to be used for the payment of proper expenditures as determined by the city council. On or about April 1st of each year, the city clerk treasurer shall prepare a list of all outstanding unpaid tax bills within the city and shall promptly cause such a list showing the name of each delinquent taxpayer, the number of the tax bill, and the amount due to be published in the newspaper having the largest circulation in the county. Said publication shall indicate that a fee in the sum of $5 for each time the delinquent list is published and shall be added to the amount owed on each delinquent tax bill. The city clerk treasurer is hereby directed to send a copy of this ordinance to the Commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Revenue, Frankfort, Kentucky. This ordinance shall take effect upon its passage and publication according to law.
Does anyone have any questions for Earlene? About what she read? Okay. We'll start over. Gina, you want to make that motion?
Try this again. I make a motion that we go with the compensating rate.
Okay.
And actually, we won't vote on it. This is a first reading.
This is first reading.
I'm just practicing. I'm just practicing.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll get it next time.
Okay,
For sure.
got it, man.
Okay. Next on the agenda is planning and zoning recommendation for RZ-23-120 at 201 Mill Street. Change from B1 neighborhood business to C1 highway commercial. Planning and zoning recommendation for RZ-23-120, 201 Mill Street. Change from B1 neighborhood business to C1 highway commercial. Tyler, do you have something on that?
So the recommendation from the Planning Commission, public hearing was held on the application for a zoning map amendment filed by Deidre Davis for her property being 201 Mill Street, Litchfield, Kentucky. Copy of the zoning map and application is attached in your packets. The public hearing was held on Monday, August 14th at 5 p.m. The Planning Commission discussed the matter in detail and found that the request for a zoning map amendment should be granted. The Planning Commission noted that there have been major changes to the surrounding area, and now Mill Street, Highway 62, is becoming commercial in nature. The proper zoning should be C-1 Highway Commercial. The Planning Commission unanimously approved the rezoning request and requests that the Leitchfield City Council approve their recommendation to change the zoning classification from B1 neighborhood business to C1 highway commercial.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler. Is there any discussion on this application? Okay.
I make a motion
Motion by Clayton.
What are you making a motion on, Clayton?
to accept the planning and zoning's recommendation.
Second.
Second by Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. The next one is
I will have
planning.
to read, we'll have to do a first reading of it.
All right. I'm sorry.
Tyler has,
I'm sorry.
has volunteered to do tonight. Yes.
An ordinance amending and adopting an amended zoning map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky by changing the district classification of the property located in Litchfield, Kentucky as hereinafter described from B-1 Neighborhood Business to C-1 Highway Commercial, whereas the Litchfield Planning Commission of Litchfield, Kentucky on August 14th, 2023 held a public hearing on application number RZ-23-120. The property is currently owned by Deidre Davis and is designated as property having a PVA number 083-09-19-007, being more particularly described in Deed Book 328, page 065, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 201 Mill Street, Litchfield, Kentucky. The request asks for a change from B-1 Neighborhood Business to C-1 Highway Commercial. And whereas City Council members conducted a review of the record and evidence presented before the Litchfield Planning Commission, and its recommendation is that the zoning map amendment be approved as affects this property. Its recommendation is attached and incorporated herein by reference, and now therefore be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows: boundaries of the district as shown on district map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky, being same is hereby amended for reasons adopted, all of which is made a part thereof, as fully set out herein, including the rezoning request from the Planning Commission dated August 15th, 2023, to the Litchfield City Council. So the property is described as follows. Property description. Refer to property description PVA number 083-09-19-007, Deed Book 328, page 065, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 201 Mill Street, Litchfield, Kentucky 42754, now zoned C-1 Highway Commercial after the adoption of this ordinance.
Okay. So now do we vote, Earlene?
No,
No,
you'll
it's
do it
first
the next
reading,
meeting.
okay.
That was a first reading.
I
That's all
forgot
right.
to make your cheat
That's
sheet,
all
didn't I,
right.
Clayton?
Yeah, I got a little practice in.
Yeah, save that, Clayton. Okay, the next one is planning and zoning recommendation for RZ-23-121, 161 Hanging Rock Road. Change from I-2 heavy industrial to R2 single family medium density.
All right, so this zone change, hearing was held on August 14, 2023. It is the estate of Eula Lucas. Lara Winchell is the executor. The Planning Commission discussed the matter in detail and found that the request for a zoning map amendment should be granted. The commission found that the present zoning classification was incorrect and that the property was not large enough to be an industrial tract, and it had always been used as residential property. The proper zoning should be R-2. The Planning Commission unanimously approved the rezoning request and recommends and requests that the Litchfield City Council approve the recommendation to change the zoning classification from I-2 heavy industrial to R-2 single family medium density.
Okay. Do you want to have any discussion for Tyler on that? Okay. Tyler, you want to do a reading?
We need
We need a vote to adopt the recommendation.
Okay. I'll accept a motion. Motion by Tootie. Second by Billy. Regina. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay.
An ordinance amending and adopting an amended zoning map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky by changing the district classification of the property located in Litchfield, Kentucky as hereinafter described from I-2 heavy industrial to R-2 single family medium density. Whereas the Litchfield Planning Commission of Litchfield, Kentucky on August 14th, 2023 held a public hearing on application number RZ-23-121. The property is currently owned by Eula Lucas Estate, Lara Winchell, executor, and is designated as a property having a PVA number 082-00-00-024, being more particularly described in Deed Book 256, page 073, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 161 Hanging Rock Road, Litchfield, Kentucky. The request asks for a change from I-2 heavy industrial to R-2 single family medium density. And whereas the city council members conducted a review of the record and evidence presented before the Litchfield Planning Commission, and its recommendation is that the zoning map amendment be approved as affects this property. Its recommendation is attached and incorporated herein by reference, and now therefore be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows. Boundaries of the district as shown on district map entitled Zoning Map, Litchfield, Kentucky, being same is hereby amended for reasons adopted, all of which is made a part hereof as fully set out herein, including the rezoning request from the Planning Commission dated August 15th, 2023, to the Litchfield City Council. So the property is described as follows. Property description referred to property description PVA number 082-00-00-024, deed book 256, page 073, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 161 Hanging Rock Road, Litchfield, Kentucky 42754, now zoned R-2, single family medium density after the adoption of this ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. Okay, next on the agenda, we need to enter into executive session concerning personnel and pending litigation. I'll entertain a motion to. Motion by Clayton, second by Tootie. All in favor?
And that is 101F and 61.8101C, just for the record.
To come back into regular session.
I make a motion.
Motion by Clayton.
Second.
Second by Tootie. All in favor? Aye. Earlene, you want to give a report?
Yes, we had several discussions. I gave an update on some pending litigation that was set for trial for February and an upcoming mediation. We also discussed some personnel issues, and I'll let the mayor announce that there's been a new creation of an employment opportunity here at the city, and I'll let the mayor go into detail on that.
Okay. Monday, I hired a gentleman named Scotty Cantways. A lot of you may know Scotty. He's a local guy, and he will be in charge kind of overseeing operations, safety aspect. We're going to be doing some safety training with the employees, first aid, CPR type things, some CDL stuff that we have some people that need their CDLs and things like that. But he will be working mostly outside and working with the outside employees to try to help them out. So if you see Scotty, welcome him aboard. Okay, unfinished business. We've got code enforcement amended ordinance for condemned property.
Oh, Tyler and I are still working on that. I do hope to have a first draft of that for the next meeting we have.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Earlene. Pay classification / grades update. You want to
I'll do
address
that,
Lauren?
yeah, sure will. As you all know, we did a first reading last meeting, and there has been some changes to the authorized classes and some classes added. So we will have to back up and regroup and do a first reading once we get all these finalized. There was some that the utility superintendent requested to be in there. And I'll just go over the things real quick that are changing. The mayor and I are requesting to change the finance officer to a 47. There's going to be a new classification for utility billing clerk / GIS. And that is the position that Alicia is in the office. She has taken over basically managing our GPS system and making sure it's updated and everything. So she's got a lot of added responsibilities to her. So we're trying to come up with an actual job description for her that encompasses her new duties. And we'll have to come up with a grade. But Dwight was on vacation last week, so me and him will work on that this week. Let's see, on the back side, Dwight requested that his move from a 45 to a 47 also. There is a utilities equipment operator 3 that he's wanting. I think that is a new classification, and he originally had a 29 on there, but he wants to move that to a 30 because he's changing a little bit of the job description there. Let's see. And then we are going to add an OIT person. And this is basically going to be for your wastewater and your water treatment plant and operator in training. They have to have so many hours in before they can actually get their license. So that was one thing that he had actually had them at a job grade of a 23, and I was like, there's nothing that matches that. So I was like, do we just need to go ahead and create that operator in training? So he was good with that. So we're going to work on a job description for that one also. And I did inform them at their meeting Thursday that you all had requested, and we actually read the ordinance that way the first time, for that the mins and maxes to update yearly with the consumer price index that we get from DLG. So they have not approved any changes yet since there's still some pending job grades for utilities. So hopefully we'll be able to get their approval at their next meeting. It is on the agenda for tourism to approve tomorrow, right? They got a meeting tomorrow?
No.
Next, yeah, it's
Yeah.
next week because Elsa's in.
Yeah.
She's at State Fair, so it'll be next week.
Yeah.
So hopefully before our next meeting, we'll at least have tourism. So it's probably going to be pushed off to the middle of September before we can even do another reading. And if the Personnel Committee wants to get together to kind of go over everything, you all just let me know, and I can schedule a committee meeting for us to go over all that. And I'll try and keep you updated as I know more on when tourism gets theirs approved and what we got going on with utilities with it. So.
Okay. Thanks, Lori. Has anybody
You're
got any
welcome.
questions for Lori? Okay. We'll go around the room for unfinished business. Billy, do you have any? Harry?
I don't have any unfinished business.
Do?
Don't have anything.
Clayton?
No.
Gina? Danny?
I'm good.
Lori?
No unfinished.
Earlene?
No.
Aaron?
I'm good.
David?
No, sir.
Tyler? Heather? All right. We'll move on to new business. I think Denny had mentioned putting this on the agenda for committee meetings. You want to run through that, Denny, what your thoughts are?
My thinking is, pardon me?
Can't hear it again.
That's- Go ahead, Denny, I'm sorry.
My recommendation is for y'all to consider maybe having a committee meeting an hour before the city council meeting, and just go down the list. Beautification will be at the next city council meeting, starting at 5 o'clock. The next one, budget and finance, and just go down the line. So everybody would have one committee meeting once a month. We haven't had any since I've started, so I think it'd be a good idea just to have regular, and then have people that you want to be there, like sidewalks, we'd want Aaron or whoever's in charge to give us an update or have questions to answer, and do it that way. Another thought I had would maybe even add an additional committee for economic development, and have that as a meeting. I think that's extremely important. We talked about
How
that
would-
earlier, but
How would the Economic Development Committee differ from the Industrial Development Committee? And what are your thoughts on, I mean,
We
what do
don't
you
have
foresee?
industrial
We don't have an
development.
industrial development committee.
I mean,
We've
that's.
got
that-
a board
Right,
Basically.
that meets regularly,
quarterly, I think.
okay?
That's a good question. The IDC generally deals with from what I've known them in the past, deals with commercial, industrial type stuff. So economic development could be, someone that, that reaches out to restaurants, like the guy that we've contracted with from Texas that's looking at, you could reach out to the other entities, restaurants, small businesses, things like that, and maybe a lot of towns now, meetings I go to, I see more economic development people than I do industrial development. I think that's kind of encompassed both areas, with the way that's moving, so.
I think it's a good idea, but maybe could you give us a little bit more information on it about like what it would look like and what the goals would be for the Economic Development Committee?
Basically, what can we do for the city? How can we encourage it? And I wouldn't limit it just maybe even economic, and maybe include even residential. We talked about doing residential development, what we could do to encourage that, incentives, that type of stuff.
Okay, so you've talked about residential, you've talked about economic, and now we're doing incentives. I think we're getting a really broad picture off of,
You just said, for example, that's just what I
Okay.
was saying. I'm not, just ideals what we can do.
I agree completely. I think maybe we could have some more laid out plans of each of those, how they would play together.
What role they would play?
Yeah.
Okay. We can do that. We can get the list out and look at them and come up with some bullet points that we can look at, with that committee, each committee. So maybe we can do that before we actually start meeting, review them and go through them.
My idea was just to have a structure for committees,
Yeah.
because right now we have no structure.
Yeah. Yeah, we generally don't meet until we have a problem of some kind, so we're kind of reactive instead of proactive, so. Okay, we'll look into that, Terry, and get some descriptions and things like that, and then we'll talk about meeting once we do that. Anything else, Danny, on that?
No, just like, other than, I'd like to get started on if we're going to do it, as far as
Okay.
having the meetings,
Okay.
because we're already 8 months into this term.
We can look this week, Lori, if you'll remind me, we'll look at this week and try to come up with some descriptive things that they would each want to be involved in. Some of them are self-descriptive, like sidewalk committee,
Right.
things like that, but the others are a little more open, so.
So I know,
Okay.
Denny, you had mentioned maybe starting at the top of the list and go down. Beautification's at the top of the list, so do we want, which is Billy, Terry, and Tootie?
I think we're doing a fine job.
I think since you all had suggested and we did that tonight, do we
And
want
we
to go
also
one
have the
down?
next two already lined out also.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. The next budget and finance, I mean, we're just into a new budget.
Yeah,
The next one's Parks and Recreation, so do we
that would probably be a good
Do
place
we
to
want to
start.
start there and have a Parks and Recreation meeting at 5 o'clock before the next meeting?
It's good by me. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, you suggested the next meeting, I'm just throwing out some
That-
ideas there.
I think that's a good idea.
Would that be this side of the table? or-
That is Denny,
No, it's
Clayton,
just-
and Jean.
Okay, okay,
And just keep in mind, the next meeting is on a Tuesday
yeah.
because of Labor Day.
Okay.
So so you all are good with that, correct? Okay, so
We're good.
I'll make sure I
Lori,
get
we may
that.
need to meet again, though, I mean, our personnel committee over the,
Yes, yeah.
definitely at least one more time and maybe
I
even
think
twice
so.
before
Yeah.
this
I mean,
goes
and do
through.
you all want me to wait till I get more information back from utilities?
You just let us know when to be here.
Okay.
And that one may take a little longer than just 1
Yeah,
hour.
we probably need to start that one at 4,
Yeah.
4:30 anyways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Planning and Zoning Comprehensive Plan Meeting Update. Tyler, you want to report on that?
So at our first work session, we focused on goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan. Some notes that we come out of that work session with is we want to focus on affordable housing, industrial development, infrastructure upgrades, and future annexations. We also want to look at our subdivision regulations, make some amendments to entice developers to develop vacant land inside city limits. And we also discussed extraterritorial jurisdiction, which what that allows us to do with the consent of the fiscal court is to have jurisdiction up to 5 miles outside of the corporate limits of the city per KRS 100.131. That way we can regulate what's going on within that radius. That way for future annexations, it's already began the process of what our planning and zoning requirements are.
Okay.
So our next meeting will be October the 9th at 5:30. Next work session, I should say, October the 9th, 5:30.
Okay. You want to have any questions for Tyler? Okay. Next item is discussion of reviewing ordinances every 5 years. I think Denny and I discussed that earlier. I think it's a good idea. I think probably if we start, we'll get done in 5 years to start again. There's a lot of information to gather there, so, to review, and some of it's old, old stuff, so.
Mayor, Sabrina and I have talked about this when Denny brought that up, and she had a great idea, I think. She maybe mentioned forming 2 committees. One side do book 1 through 4, and the next do 5 through 9, and let them start going through the ordinances and looking at them.
Okay.
The ordinance requires us to do it. It's mandatory. It says shall be done every 5 years.
Okay.
We haven't been following the shall, it appears.
Okay. What do you guys think about what Lori just suggested as far as looking through, splitting them up that way?
Arlene would probably have to be pretty involved in this too.
Yes,
Okay. You want to kind of look into that, Arlene, and see what,
I can do that.
okay? And
Yeah.
then we can talk about it next time, see if that's okay to split them up like that, and we can do assignments after that, so. Any other new business, Billy?
I have a pickleball court coming, Denny. Good to go? Construction?
I don't know, we haven't got, they sent out the, ask Tammy, they sent out the estimates on, did we get anything back besides Scotty's?
Are you gonna try that build this year?
Yep, that's the plan.
You're gonna know.
Scotty's talked like they could do it this year. And I assume we're not gonna have any other bids.
So everything's done, bid process done.
Just waiting on the fencing.
When is that bid due in, Tammy?
At the end of the month.
If we had a mayor that had expertise on lighting, we may be able to get some lighting, because we might have a little bit of money left over.
We may be able to get a discount on that. One-time discount. So, okay. Anything else, Billy?
For the people that don't know, East Main Market Street's our last concert Saturday night. I'm sure it took the glory from the mayor, but
No.
anyway, it's a really great event. We've had a good summer with it. I think we've had good turnouts with it. Even the people that set up their little shops, it's given them an opportunity to get a whole different dynamic of people that have come and sold the products. The food trucks have been wonderful. We're kind of getting inundated in town with food trucks right now, though. But
Everybody's trying it, but
I mean, that's something probably the council's gonna have to address down the road for the brick and mortar restaurants.
Yeah.
So, but I think the city's had a really good summer, and I appreciate what everybody up here's done, and Lori and Elsa and Tammy for the East Main Market. I think it's been a great adventure for everyone in the community.
I agree, Billy, and it can only grow from here, I think. So we've seen the crowds get bigger each time, and I know a couple of the food trucks, the last one we had mentioned that they ran out of food. One of them ran out of his best food by 7 o'clock, so, and that's, as we talked about earlier, it's something for the community to do. It doesn't cost anything. Now, the food trucks do. If you have to buy your own food, but we'll provide the music and the handshakes and the camaraderie. But it's been a good thing, and I hope to continue it. Okay. Terry, new business?
I do have a couple of new things. And I think that Tyler's probably aware of this also, and maybe offer the suggestion that the council may need to discuss it. The idea of permanently closing the alley between Discount Interiors and the old Western Auto Building, just the alley portion of it. I mean, it's been closed due to the structure for quite some time.
Yeah.
That alley is not, it's not much of a drive-through, even when it's open. The delivery trucks are not using it. They can't use it. They haven't used it. It's too tight. And actually, I mean, it's a hazard to pedestrians walking on the sidewalk because of cars coming through the alley. So I said I would get some thoughts from you all on this.
Okay. I'm glad to look at that. I think what you said, it doesn't serve a great deal of purpose anymore. Get some graffiti painted in it every now and then. That's, but with having, and I don't know what'll happen with where Save-A-Lot is now, but you can
right.
come in from different directions. So
Save-A-Lot
that's the
has
only
two
thing that-
entrances on that, down on the other end of the street where the house is and where I think there's maybe some apartments or something being built. They are closer to that end.
Right.
Down there. So could you look into that?
I will. We'll sit down and talk with Aaron and Arlene about it and see what the process is, if we can close it. And I'm sure there's a process for that
There
we'd have to
is.
go through. So.
Depends on if you have consent or not consent
Okay.
of landowners.
What would you do with it?
I don't know.
Would you box it in? Would you leave it open?
Would you sell that to a property owner? Would the city still own it? I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of what if questions with it. What would happen if the city closed just the section of the alley?
I think it would revert back to your landowners because
That's the way it happened when we closed the railroad crossing out by Bailey's. It reverted back to the landowners there.
And if you have different landowners on each side, then they split it.
Splits it.
I think the same person owns both sides.
Yeah, they do now, yeah.
Maybe something that the owner needs to be talked about. He may be in favor of it, or he may not be. I mean, he may be opposing to it, which would make it a little more difficult.
that's first person need to start with.
Yeah.
He is in favor of it. He reached out.
Okay. Yeah, we can have that conversation and just check it out, see what all the requirements are, and kind of go from there. Maybe next meeting, we can have something on it for them as far as the process and the way we go about it. Okay.
I do have one more thing.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody knows that our Public Works Department is super short on help. That's not a secret. I mean, we can look out, you can talk to the workers, they're overworked, they are, they can't get caught up because of the people are quitting, or they're not staying, or we can't get the workers. It's not their fault, it's not on them. I really feel like after we get our pay grade, our new pay scale fixed, that it's really going to help us in all departments to not only attract new employees, but be able to retain the ones that we have. But we have a little problem right now. Whenever we have private citizens out on city easements who are cutting bushes, cutting weeds because they can't see to pull out. This is not on our Public Works Department because they are getting to everything just as soon as they can. But we have to do more and we have to do better. I'm sure everyone up here has gotten calls, text messages about the mowing, and again, this is not on our Public Works. They do not have the help. They don't have the staff in order to get to everything right now because they're covering everybody else's shifts. Some of the places that are mowed it looks like they've been bush hogged. Our sidewalks are covered in grass. You can't get strollers through them. Our property owners, our business owners, they're complaining. Property owners are complaining. So I want to propose that could we possibly consider for the remainder of this year possibly bidding out just the mowing aspect and let our workers get back to, that's one less thing that they have to do. When we have our properties that are waist high and weeds, and they say, okay, the city can mow it, and then we'll just pay the city. Well, that's taking our workers off of another job that they could be doing. We've got signs, our street signs, and Wesley said they've been working on those whenever they could for the last few years. They don't have time to do it. We have ditches that need to be dug. They don't have time to dig the ditches. They don't have time to clear out the culverts. But when I saw two different private citizens that were nowhere near their property, and I even stopped and asked, what are you doing? They said, you can't see when you pull out of the drive. Well, you can't see when you pull out of the road because of the bushes and the weeds that have now turned into trees. That's a problem.
We do have some.
Again, Aaron, it's not on your department at all. I understand you all are doing everything that you can. You don't have the help. You don't have the help that you did, even a year ago.
As of today, we're 5 short.
Exactly.
We had one that walked out
we've
this
got to
morning.
compensate somehow. We've got to keep the workers that we have. And if we can do one little thing as far as just bidding out the remainder of this season to do the mowing and the trimming, to get that done, to take one less thing off of their plates, I think that's the least that we can do.
JD, when's mowing season over for you, generally?
I think it's usually October. I might be wrong.
October,
No,
somewhere there.
it's they work till November.
It depends on how our seasons change.
A lot of it depends on the grass itself. What kind of weather we have.
When did he say?
Middle October.
How many crews you have, Aaron? For mowing?
I'm one.
Them?
Yes, sir.
Have you had more?
No.
So you've had one crew the whole time
Yes, sir.
that mowed, even when you had 5 extra people?
Yes, sir.
They mow every day too, don't they?
Yes, sir.
and they can't get it all. I mean, if we have people investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even millions, I don't know, in new businesses, refurbishing old buildings that have basically are deteriorating, and then we can't even provide the service of keeping our properties, what we own, city easements, city right-of-ways, if we can't even maintain those and keep our sidewalks, which are city, if we can't keep those clean, what kind of message is that sending to our residents and our business owners?
Yes, sir. Did you have something to say?
Yes.
You might want to step up. I've been
Yeah,
getting
so we can
complaint,
hear.
nobody can hear you if you're back from the,
Well, the audience can't hear unless it's through the microphone.
The fireman got a raise a few years ago. Mowed the fire department. Well, they said they wouldn't go mow it no more. So I put it off on JD and Scotty. Did they still get to keep their raise? And that's the only reason the raise we give to them is to mow that park and the nut park.
So you're saying that our firefighters got a raise, and in exchange for the raise, they were supposed to mow the firefighter park, and they are not, and that's putting it on JD and his crew. And that is a large property,
It is that.
and there's a lot to that.
They had to pick it up to mow because firefighters don't mow it no more.
Okay, well, they're,
No, that put a lot more on them, and I told them in the past. Now, I went out there and helped JD mow the firefighter part. I said, if I got a free minute, I'll go help you mow, I don't care. I was taught up before, so I would help you mow. But if they gonna give them a raise to mow it, and they decide to quit mowing, I don't think they need the raise. And that's just my opinion.
well, that was before my time, so I'm not really sure on all of the background on that, but I,
Henry talked about it today, he's over at the floor, and we talked. He said, I give it to them to mow it. I said, they don't mow it. He said, well, they should have taken the raise.
well, that would explain why it is piled, because it went so long in between mowings whenever JD and his crew had to get to it whenever they could. And that is one of the nicest, I mean, all of our parks are nice. I'm partial to that one because it's in North Leitchfield, it's where I live. I see it multiple times a day, full of kids, full of families, and we have piles of dead grass that looks like the whole thing's just been,
And a whole lot of that is the rear discharge mower.
That's what I was fixing to say. The reason a lot of it's piled up, it's not, it does get mowed every week. And the reason a lot of it is piled up is because we have purchased mowers for the right-of-ways, because when we're going up and down the roads, we don't want to sling rocks on vehicles as they pass by. So we have the rear discharge mowers, which discharges out the back, and it doesn't scatter it like a regular lawnmower would. Yeah, and that's the reason why, and I'm not taking sides by no means.
Right,
but-
absolutely.
But that's the reason why it does clump up like that, because of the rear discharge mowers.
so Mayor, what can we do to help our public works staff, our community, and make things a little more appealing? I mean, we gave out a beautification award tonight, and I was sitting here thinking, we need to do more.
Go ahead, Terry.
If they're gonna mow out there, and that's just my opinion again, they need to get a side discharge mower where it don't pile it like it does.
And that, I mean, but that property, I get what you're saying completely, but I mean, there are more across town.
Yeah, we can look at that with the rear discharge mowers. I'm not sure what age those mowers are, Aaron.
One, the Grasshopper, I think it was last year, and then the year before that we purchased the Kubota, or the year before that, or one and two.
They're fairly new.
They're both within. One is 1 year old, and the other one is within 3 years old, 2 to 3 years old.
Okay. We can look at a side discharge mower at some point if we have to replace one.
Can we look at getting Public Works the help that they need and our mowing crew the help that they need? in
Yeah.
order to get things, they can help get more caught up, and I know it would help JD and his crew.
Yeah.
Aaron, are you behind on your mowing?
I'm,
Or do you not know where to mow?
to my knowledge, it's what we are supposed to mow or what we do mow, I should say.
Well, it may be a place that you don't even know you're supposed to mow.
They know,
They know. They do know?
they do know.
Who's they?
It's turned into the proper, to our chain of command.
Okay.
Some of the.
I mean, I personally do not know every place that we mow.
Right.
Like JD and Scotty, they have their routine. They mow certain things on certain days. And a lot of it depends on the weather. And I'm going to be 100% honest. If it rains, it throws us behind, and them ditches are slick, and the grass, of course, it ain't fescue that lays down pretty. It's crabgrass, weeds, whatnot, and it's going to clump up worse than anything. I mean, especially out on 259, you know, that's probably one of the worst, the ditches and this and that and everything else. That's the worst place that we have. Like the north or south side of town here on 259, it usually looks pretty good because the grass is, you know, kept up. It's not, you know, it's a lot of it depends on the weather and the grass. And you know, like I'll take up for them because they work their hind ends off, and
They do, you're right.
They work every day. Him and Scotty, of course, Scotty's on part time, so JD tries to plan what to mow when he's not there that he can handle. You know, as far as mowing by himself, he has inmates that work with him that, you know, do the grunt labor. But, you know, they do the best they can.
You're right. They are doing the absolute best that they can. I mean, obviously, we can't get a new mower. Mayor, can you check with the fire department on what Mr. It's Ashley, right? What Mr. Ashley was saying?
I think there's more, at the firehouse out there.
Was.
I mean, if we're paying these people more to do a job,
X-Mark, yeah, that's
I
why.
don't, I mean, I wasn't on the council at that time, so I'm not familiar with all of this, but I mean, if that was in the agreement, you're gonna get this much more, and you're going to do this, and they're not fulfilling that end, you know, that's
Their
a,
raise wasn't brought to the council.
Okay.
It was negotiated between them and the mayor.
That's right.
I don't know any,
Well, Billy and Tootie and I was sitting on it.
They
hey,
done heard
this
it.
is broadcast.
Pudgy.
There's no being anonymous here. And I do have one more thing, and then I'm gonna go, I'll see what you have to say. One more thing, if we're not gonna be able to, bid this out or anything like that, can we at least get some, blowers for our workers so they can blow this stuff off of the sidewalks and out of the streets?
Yeah.
Can we look at that, Mayor?
Yes.
Do we
And,
have anything like that, Aaron?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do they have access to it? Is it with them?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So can you go through the chain of command and say
Um,
this was what we need to do?
Start tomorrow. I'll have them start packing them around.
Thank you very much. That would be
And
very
as far as the
appreciated.
hiring situation, we have applications that we are going through.
Well, I hope
Because
that
we
you're
need,
very
we're
successful.
short, we need help, and we're going through them. Just some of the jobs that we have that we're hiring for, you know, you just can't, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, you can't hire just anybody off the street to do.
Is there any place, I mean, obviously this is going to be watched. So if someone were interested in applying for a job with Public Works, what would they need to do?
They can come to our office or City Hall and fill out an application,
Okay,
and they will get back to me or Wesley.
sounds good.
And Terry, on the application process, it may be me and the mayor that we're talking today. We are actually going to work with Tim Duval because in the budget, you all put for him to be able to hire another full-time person. And of course, they've had, you know, I think they replaced the one that quit already. But we have found a lot of interest being drawn in. Tammy and them have a program, what is it, Poster My Wall, Tammy? Is that what you all use? And the last few job applications that we've taken, we have made this pretty colorful flyer that we've put out on Facebook, and it has tripled the amount of applications we get,
Good.
and we've got some really good ones. So Christy's already started the one on the fire department. Tim's going to come work with her on it tomorrow. But that is something that the mayor and I think it was Mayor and I talked about today, is maybe doing one for Public Works and getting with you all and saying these are the qualifications that are needed, and just make this big attractive flyer, because like I said, it's really helped us. And the last few people we've hired here in City Hall, we've done through those, and we've had some really good applicants, and, you know, we've got some great employees out of it, so.
Have you, is there also an online application?
They can do it off of the website, yes.
Okay.
Yep, so it is on the website. We've had a lot of complaints on the website. It's a little harder to navigate than the old one, but it is on the website.
And another thing, as far as what would help out, you know, which I know is the process, but like the newer pay scales, you know, just like for what I've done and what we do, like as far as the maintenance and street crews, you know, it's to find somebody that can do a little bit of everything and operate equipment. I mean, I just be honest with you, you're not going to find somebody for what we start out at that's willing to come and do what we do.
Do you
I
feel
mean,
like the new pay scale will be an incentive?
I mean,
A beginning
I think it
incentive?
will. A lot of it depends on their qualifications,
Right.
what they can do, as far as what pay scale we would classify them under. I mean, you know, it's to do the stuff that we deal with. It takes, you know, not everybody can do. I'm
Right.
just gonna be honest.
And I think Mayor Miller and several of us have talked about, you pay for skilled labor.
Yes.
If they have skills, if they got one skill, they usually got two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that even helps out even more. So,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Mayor Miller's on board with.
Yeah,
with
and
the skilled
and
labor.
it's the right direction, because like I said, you know, to keep the ones that you do have that do know, and get people in here because I mean, honestly, you know, when I first started, you know, I come to work, I ain't gonna lie, I come to work for the benefits.
Yeah.
You know, now you don't have that no more. So I mean, you're gonna have to up the ante, in which we are, you all are, whoever, you know, to get people here that wants to. So.
And if it's something that somebody reports to anyone on the council that's really grown up, like seriously grown up, the mowing crew really isn't equipped to do that. We'd have to get the tractor and the bush hog out to do that. I think we did one last week, out north of town that needed cutting, so.
What?
On the sidewalk, if you go on Fashion Drive, then a sidewalk on either side. And I said, I'll give you the land, because I own 1,000 feet on one side and 2.5 acres the other side. I've cleaned the right of way myself with my backhoe and my tractor. And there ain't no, and the blacktop is caving in, going into the street, but nobody's done nothing with it, and it's Fashion Drive. And no sidewalk on either side, and I'll give you the land. I give them $750 million worth of right of way to put a gas line in the backside of my property to keep the utilities as low as I could, and didn't charge them a dime. But now sidewalk, I had to give them $500 for Fashion Drive, for the sign to go on Fashion Drive and pay taxes on it, but it's my street. But there ain't no sidewalk on either side, and the blacktop is caving in.
Well, that's something, that's something.
They don't have the time, or you budgeted enough, you put up new garbage cans, you ain't got time to go fix the sidewalks, you will get a new garbage can sitting out where people can see them. Come walk down Fashion Drive, I'll give you the land on either side. No charge, you can have it.
That's just one of the issues.
Now, what's the deal there? Can you budget that? Or just let it go slide? Ask Tootie about it, he knows about it.
You've been talking about it for about a year now.
If you walk down Fashion Drive, you either walk in the road, or you have to be up in my yard on either side.
Well, I'll address that. We are attempting, with the new hire that I just talked about, to be able to do some things like that, to follow up on it, to see that they get done. Now, I don't know that we'd find it feasible to build sidewalks up Basham Drive, but, yeah. But the blacktop and, yeah. And, yeah. Well, we appreciate that, and, you know, but, you know, you and I have talked about that several times, and as Terry just said, you know, it's, well, we're trying. We're trying our best. Yeah. It doesn't, you have to find the right person to hire. You can't just hire anybody because, you know, it just doesn't work out every time like that. But we'll get into that more. I'll talk to you. We'll come out and look at it. Okay? Terry, have you got anything else?
No, sir, I am finished.
All right. Tootie?
No, sir.
Clayton?
No, sir.
Danny?
No.
Lori?
I do have a couple new things. I have an invoice here from Heather Peters, sitting right here, that works at Public Works. She buys pallets of stuff, and there's a lot of times on those pallets, there's stuff that we can use in the office. Like this one's for the center pool towels that we use, binders, 1 inch, 2 inch, hand soap, printer paper, and some latex gloves, it looks like. And I would like for you all to approve this invoice to pay her. It's for $146, and if I looked correctly when I did the price comparison on everything, and I have all this, that's probably saving us over $600 to purchase it from her. And, you know, she doesn't buy those pallets with an intent to sell stuff to us. But these were just some things she noticed she had that we could use over there. So if you all are okay with that, this invoice here is for $146, and I can even get you all a copy of everything that's on here. I would like to go ahead and be able to purchase that stuff from her. It's just a huge cost savings for us. A lot of times she donates. She's brought in the thermal paper and copy paper and just donates it a lot of time.
Earlene, what's your recommendation?
I think that's fine to do a vote and accept that. I don't think that's something you have to bid out based on the amount and the cost on it. It's only $146.
I make a motion.
No, I didn't know if there's any conflict with the employer.
I don't see one in this situation.
And this probably isn't a regular occurrence when she gets pallets like that. It's just when she does get them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, most of the time, she just donates. She'd been donating the stuff over, you know, in the past, you know, when she's seen something we needed, but.
Okay. We need,
I make a motion.
Clayton's made a motion, second by Billy. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then I have just one more thing, just for informational purposes only. As you all know, David Riley and I put in the budget to to seal the parking lot. It'll be the first time it's been sealed since it's blacktopped. And I had 3 quotes that ranged from $4,000 to $14,500. The lowest one is the one that, you know, I plan on going with, and I've got good feedback from Scotty's. They do a lot of work for Scotty's. It's kind of astronomical that we got a $10,500 difference from the top to the bottom. But I have talked to this guy several times, and he's walked out. I've made him walk out to the parking lot with me to make sure he's got everything. But just kind of want to let you all know where we're at on that. I'd like to go ahead and get started on that as soon as he can get started on it, but.
Is that to restripe it too?
That's restriping and sealing, yes.
Who is it?
It is Allen's Asphalt, Adam Allen. He is out of McHenry.
So did you get anybody local to bid?
I did. I got Seth Payne, and I got Goober Sanders. Is that his last name?
Yeah.
Yep. And you know, with the quote being so low, we did want some recommendations, so I did get a hold of Chris Smith at Scotty's. And, you know, he just basically praised his work. I've got the email from him if you all want to see that. But I would like to go ahead and get started on that as soon as we can, because I know the blacktop plant doesn't stay open too awful long once fall gets here. So, well, not that he would need that, though. Never mind. But anyways, I would like to get that started before fall. If you all are good with me, go ahead and awarding it to him. It's in the budget, so.
I'm pretty sure that he's the one that done the.
Striping the first time.
No, he done the ceiling at Quail Run as well.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, Scott, or Chris at Scotty's talks like he does a lot of stuff for them, and he is actually the one that did the striping here when we moved into the parking lot. He did it for Scotty's, so.
You need a motion on that?
No, it's in the budget, but if you all are good with me proceeding with it, I just wanted to kind of inform you all where we stood, you know, since we did have some local ones and he's not gonna be local, it's just hard to pass up, you know. The next closest one was $9,940. So, I mean, it's just,
$5,000 swing to
when he
$10,000.
when he handed it to me, I was like, are you sure this is right?
I got confused.
Huh?
Striping and all.
Striping and all, yes.
Yeah.
It is to, what his quote says here is, we'll blow and sweep lot, we'll seal lot with 3 pounds of sand per gallon and a rubber additive to allow for wear. We'll seal lot with 2 coats of sealer. We'll stripe as desired. I mean, it just blew me away. So, like I said, I even had him go outside with me just to make sure we were on the same page, and
That's a win-win.
I don't think we can pass up that. Especially with the, you know, the good recommendations we got from Scotty's.
Okay. Is everybody good with Lori pursuing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Earlene, new business?
No new business.
Okay. Aaron?
I'm good.
David?
I'm good.
Tyler? Heather? Okay. Did you have something, Bill?
I was just gonna say that me and my neighbor will continue to mow the entrance at Capeland Drive there on 259 that never gets mowed.
Okay.
We mow it every week.
Okay. We appreciate that, and if you, you know, if you get to the point you do need us to mow it, let us know, you know.
Part of the routine now.
Mower knows where to go now, don't it?
Goes where it's
Yeah.
supposed to.
Okay, other business, just a reminder, the next chamber luncheon is September 14th. Please let Lori know, no later than noon on Monday, September 11th, if you plan to attend. Tammy, I'm sorry.
Just quick.
You sat over there so quiet, I didn't,
I'm
you
being
know.
quiet, yes. I don't know if you've all noticed, I posted on Facebook, we've decided to do, I've talked it with over with the mayor, I talked over with Elsa to pick her brain. We're going to start doing Food Truck Friday. We're going to do the first one on October 6th. We're going to go with local vendors as much as we possibly can. It'll be in Upper Bevel. It'll start at 11 o'clock and go on till 6. It seems like we've gotten a lot of interest in it and a lot of great feedback. So I'm hoping if this goes really well, we'll do it in the spring, but when East Main starts, we'll stop because we don't want to compete with that. We just want something to bring people into the park, and Upper Bevel just seems to be a nice location for it. But I just wanted to give you guys all a heads up, and we're looking for vendors, so if you know anybody, let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy. I'm hoping you can contact that White Castle truck and get them back down here.
Well, buy you one.
Let Lori know, no later than noon, September 11th. The annual chamber dinner is scheduled for September 21st from 5 to 8 at the Heavenly View event venue. That's out in Tar Heel area, out in there. Please let Lori know as soon as possible if you plan to attend, as we only have 8 spots available. So if you do want to attend that, be sure and let her know as soon as you can. Labor Day Parade, are you guys up for doing the trolley again? You are?
I think that's what we do, isn't it,
Yeah,
every year?
yeah, just wanted to check with everybody and see. Okay.
Where
We'll-
we'll meet at, up here at the parking lot.
You know, the mayor in the past has invited Candyville and Clarkson since it's a county.
Yeah, yeah, I'll reach out to them and see what,
I'm not trying to, you may ask Caneyville because they did come get a trolley themselves.
yeah.
I don't
think-
know.
Yeah, I don't know if they would do the Labor Day parade. I think they were looking for Caneyville parade to do that, but I'll reach out to them and see what their thoughts are. We'll meet at Southgate Mall, I guess. Parade starts at 9:30, right, Tyler? Okay. So I would meet there by 9 at least, you think?
9.
Yeah. Okay.
So you'll have somebody to pull the trolley, right? And I'll get candy for you all to throw out, so.
Okay. Fair schedule, we will have a booth at the fair, and there's a schedule in the back of your packet. If you've got the time to look into that and look at the time that might fit your schedule.
Pretty entertaining.
Yeah, yeah. And so if you do have time on your schedule to do something like that, maybe let Lori know.
Yeah, let me know, because we do get a ticket for you all to pass around for the nights that you work, so you don't have to worry about paying to get in there.
That week I can take Wednesday.
Wednesday? Okay, I'll put you on there for Wednesday.
Okay, reminder that the next meeting will be Tuesday, September 5th, so because of the Labor Day holiday, we'll meet that Tuesday. So, anything else? Anyone have anything else to discuss? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Motion by Clayton, second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.